is the Business Breakfast on the UAE's #1 talk radio station.
Dubai Eye 103.8.
Right, talking human resources now. Suzanne Gandy is the HR director at one of Dubai's biggest technology firms, Bayut and and she joins us now in the studio. Susan, good to see you. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
We've asked you in to respond to some comments from the boss of IBM globally, who's put the cat among the pigeons when it comes to work from home. He is Arvind Krishna, and he says the following: working from home can be hazardous to your career. He says the following: yes, in the short term, you probably can be equally productive, but your career does suffer because you haven't got that networking with your peers in the office. What are your thoughts?
I have to say, Richard, that I completely agree. Of course, when you're working from home, you can be as equally productive as when you're in the office. But it's that face time you have with your colleagues, with your management, and with your other stakeholders that can really impact what you do. And he makes two clear points. The first one is about the management side of things, and the other side is also about the career and productivity side of things. But let me just tell you quickly what we do at Bayut and First off, obviously, when we came together, we were originally competitors in the market. And now,
which one were you?
So I actually joined after the merger.
Okay, fine.
And so I didn't have sort of allegiance to either brand and came in sort of as the objective, I guess, very objectively. But you had the two competitors coming together, and then 2 years later, our own employees rated us as a great place to work. And one of the things I think what we've done that's key to that is creating that environment for high performance. And that means whether you're at home or whether you're in the office. But we do expect our employees to be in the office more than at home. We also expect a coverage of the normal core working hours, because that's when we're with our customers. You have to take the customer's needs first. And then it's really down to the point of whether the role itself can work remotely, because some roles just can't. If it's a customer-facing role or one of our car inspectors climbing inside and around cars, they can't work in their home office. But if you're going back to what Arvind said, it was very much about the extra bit. So on Thursday last week, I had a meeting with our CEO, Haider Khan, a friend of the Business Breakfast, and if we had been on Zoom or on Teams, it would have probably been a very short, to the point meeting. We had our bullet points that we usually go through in my very sort of still a bit military style of, going through all the key factors. But then we started talking about this show and talking about what Arvind had said. And then we had quite the discussion about the culture in the organisation and where we see it going, and the sorts of different cultures that we'd both experienced in the past, and what, we needed to do as leadership with our fellow leadership team members to make sure that we can keep our culture warm, because it's one of those things where if you don't keep working on the culture goes cold. So it's like this continuous need for us to make sure that the culture stays warm and one that people want to be part of.
Well, that's interesting, the culture at Bayut and you and Haider, who we know, because he was 20 years in Silicon Valley, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And you're a captain in the British Army. I mean, it doesn't get more different than that. How do you fuse those two?
Well, actually, I think it's good because we bring quite different perspectives to the table. But equally, I think the one thing that we definitely agree on is that when our employees are in their working hours, whatever they might be, flexible or in the office or at home, we're here to do our work as efficiently and as effectively as we can, to have those face-to-face conversations with people that need to be conversed with, and then go home, spend time with your family, go spend time with your friends, enjoy yourself. But when you come into the workplace, let's get our work done as efficiently and as effectively as we can.
We've got an Instagram poll going this morning, and I've never seen this before. It's on our Insta stories at Dubai Eye 103.8 FM, and we're quoting the IBM CEO. The question we're asking, is remote working hazardous for your career? 100% of people say yes. It's not a scientific poll, but nevertheless, people agree with him, don't they?
Yeah, and actually there is a lot of research to show that people who come into an office, and I'm not saying be in the office every day. Like I said, in my team, we're probably about, I'd say 50% in, 50% out, maybe some 60-40 or whatever. But I agree, because even the research shows that people who come into an office space spend 25% more time on career development activities than those people who don't. Now, that's not detracting from people who work remotely the majority of the time and maybe go and do office visits or travel on business travel. I think there is a certain type of person that can do that really, really well, but certainly not the majority. Equally, what Oliver was saying earlier, you know, I'm sure it's reflected in your poll where 100% have said, you know, yes, it is damaging for your career. What he's saying is that line managers need to be aware of that proximity bias. But I think it's actually line managers need to be aware of what objective measures we're looking for people when it comes to their career development. Is it that they're present in front of you? Because someone could be present and actually that could work against them. Maybe they have some annoying traits or something like that. So I don't think it's so much proximity. I think it's about educating line managers to look at competencies, skills, behaviours and productivity over where the person is.
And it's interesting, you referenced Oliver earlier. That's Oliver Baxter, who was our guest at 6:50 this morning. Oliver Baxter of Workplace Maven. And Oliver's a great guy. I've known him a long time, and I agree with 99% of what he says. But the one bit I disagreed with him, he argued that it's the responsibility of line managers to make sure they don't become guilty of what he called proximity bias.
Yeah.
I argued to him, I think we've all got to take responsibility for our own careers. You can't leave it to your line manager to manage your career.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And that's also the approach we take at Bayut and Bizzle, is that it's all about you as the individual. You're responsible not only for taking responsibility for your career, but also taking responsibility for the learning you do. We're not going to chase people and pull them towards learning and career development activities. We give it out freely for everybody to have in a very equitable and equal way. And then it's up to the individual who really want to go and grab that opportunity.
Thanks very much indeed for your messages this morning. Matthew writes in, the power of proximity matters. I agree that work from home can take a toll of your career. Someone else writes in, no name on this one, saying, but just look at the inefficiencies of working from home. Extra phone calls, missed calls, waiting for people to join teams, etc. when working from home. Personality works. Thanks very much indeed for that. Susan, always good to talk to you. Appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
We'll let you get back to manage the thousands of people who work at Bayut to Bizzle. Some of them who might even be in the office by now. What time is it?
Yep.
8:30? Let's hope so. It's the Business Breakfast on Dubai Eye.